Hello, friend. Welcome to Science for Sleep. Whether you have come back again tonight, or you are finding this quiet place for the first time, this is a gentle space to slow down, learn something soft, and let the day slowly fall away. Tonight, we are drifting into the strange and beautiful world of snakes. A world of smooth scales, silent motion, hidden senses, and bodies so different from our own that they can feel almost impossible at first. A snake resting in grass can seem like the simplest animal in the world. Just a long, quiet shape beside a stone, under a leaf, or near the warm edge of a path. But inside that still body is one of the most successful designs in reptile history. There are close to 4,000 known species of snakes living on Earth today. They live in deserts, forests, rivers, oceans, farms, mountains, and city edges. They are found on every continent except Antarctica. Some are smaller than a pencil. Some are longer than a small car. And all of them share the same basic mystery. They have no arms, no legs, no hands to grip, no feet to push against the ground. Yet they climb trees, swim through water, cross hot sand, vanish into burrows, and move through tall grass with almost no sound at all. Many snakes have more than 200 bones in the spine. Some have over 400. Each small bone connects with ribs, muscles, skin, and belly scales, so the whole body can bend, press, hold, and glide. A human takes a step by lifting one foot and then the other. A snake moves by, turning almost its entire body into a slow wave of force. It is not missing movement. It has become movement. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, you're welcome to subscribe. And if it feels natural, to leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It helps others find their way to this calm corner of the world, one sleepy traveler at a time. The quiet continues here, just as it is. Snakes are often misunderstood because they do not move, look, or sense the world the way mammals do. A dog lifts its head and listens. A bird turns its eye toward the sky. A deer steps carefully through leaves. But a snake gathers the world in quieter ways. Some snakes flick their forked tongue into the air, not as a warning, but to collect tiny scent particles. Those particles are carried into a special organ in the roof of the mouth, where the snake can read chemical traces from prey, water, shelter, or another snake that passed by earlier. To a snake, the air is not empty. It is full of invisible trails. Some snakes can detect heat. Pit vipers, boas, and pythons have special heat-sensitive areas near the face. These can pick up infrared radiation, which is the warmth given off by living bodies. In deep darkness, a mouse may appear not as a color or a shape, but as a small, warm presence against cooler soil and leaves. Other snakes can swallow animals much wider than their own heads. They do not unhinge their jaws, even though people often say they do. Instead, the bones of the skull are connected in a loose and flexible way. The two sides of the lower jaw can move apart. The mouth can stretch slowly around prey, and the snake can work the meal inward, one side at a time, with a patience that feels almost mechanical. Snakes are ancient too. Their ancestors were already moving through the world more than 100 million years ago, during the age of dinosaurs. Over that long stretch of time, their bodies changed from lizard-like forms into long, limbless hunters with sharp senses and careful energy use. What looks simple from a distance is not simple at all. A snake in the grass is a spine, a sensor, a tongue, a skull, a set of muscles, and a quiet map of the ground beneath it. It is a living answer to a question nature asked long ago. How much can a body do after giving up legs? The answer is almost everything. It can climb, it can swim, it can listen through the soil, it can taste the air, it can wait for days in stillness, and when the time comes, it can move with a smoothness that seems to belong more to water than land. So tonight, there is no need to hurry past the snake, no need to turn it into fear or myth or noise. We can simply look closer. We can let the quiet shape in the grass become clear. And as the details slowly appear, the strange body begins to feel less strange. It becomes patient, ancient, carefully made. That long design began far back in reptile history. The oldest snake fossils are difficult to read because small bones do not always preserve well in stone. But many paleontologists think snakes came from lizard-like ancestors. Some of those early relatives may have lived underground, pushing through soil and loose sand. Others may have moved through water, where a long body can slide more easily than a body with 4 spreading limbs. Over millions of years, legs became less important. The body itself became the tool. In some ancient snake fossils, such as Najash rionegrina, found in Argentina and described in the early 2000s, tiny hind limbs were still present near the hips. They were small, almost like leftovers from an older body plan. Modern boas and pythons still carry a faint trace of this past. Near the base of the tail, they have small claw-like structures called pelvic spurs. These are remnants connected to the old hip area. They do not carry the animal forward, but they remind us that snakes came from ancestors with limbs. The missing legs are part of a long change written into the bones. A snake's body is built around repetition. Where a human has 33 vertebrae in the spine, many snakes have 200 to 400 or more. A vertebra is one small bone in the backbone. In a snake, those bones form a long chain from the neck region almost to the tail. Most of them carry a pair of ribs. Those ribs do more than protect organs. They help shape the body and give muscles many places to pull. The result is a body made from hundreds of small moving parts, each one adding a tiny bit of bend, grip, or pressure. A garter snake sliding through wet grass is using waves of muscle along its sides. A king snake moving under a log is pressing different body sections against bark and soil. A python easing forward across a branch is letting one part hold while another part shifts. The motion can look smooth from a distance, almost like poured liquid. Up close, it is made of many small actions passing down the body. The muscles are arranged in layers. Some run along the length of the body, some angle between ribs and skin. Some help pull the belly scales against the ground. These belly scales are wide plates called ventral scales. They stretch across the underside like a row of flat steps. When muscles tighten, parts of the belly can grip a surface just enough to push or hold. On rough ground, bark, stone, roots, or packed soil, that grip matters. Even a small ridge in the earth can become something the snake uses. This is why a snake is so different from an animal built around 4 main limbs. A horse puts power into hooves. A cat gathers force into shoulders and paws. A human balances over 2 feet. A snake spreads work through the full length of the body. The front, middle, and rear can each play a role. One part can anchor, another part can curve. Another part can slide forward. This lets snakes enter spaces that would stop larger limbed animals at the entrance. They can pass through narrow cracks in rocks. They can move through the roots of old trees. They can disappear under leaf litter, where the space between leaves is only a few centimeters high. Burrowing snakes often have smooth scales and compact heads, useful for pressing through soil. Sea snakes have flattened tails that work like paddles. Tree snakes may have slender bodies that help them stretch between branches. The same basic plan can be shaped for many different worlds. A long spine, a chain of ribs, a body covered in scales, muscles that pass motion from one region to the next. This structure gives snakes their quiet strength. It also explains why stillness can be misleading. A snake resting under a warm, flat rock may seem motionless, yet the body is ready as a single connected system. A small shift of one curve can travel into another. A rib can brace. A scale can catch. A muscle can tighten. The whole animal can begin to move without ever needing a first step. From this body made of repeated pieces comes a kind of motion that feels almost silent before it becomes visible. On a flat patch of earth, a snake may seem to pour forward. The head points ahead. The body follows in curves. Each curve presses against some small part of the world. A pebble, a grass stem, a ridge of soil, the side of a branch. This common movement is called lateral undulation. Lateral means side. Undulation means a wave-like motion. The snake sends bends down its body, and each bend pushes sideways against the ground. That sideways pressure becomes forward motion. A northern water snake moving along a muddy bank uses this kind of motion. So does a corn snake sliding through dry leaves. The curves are not random. They are placed where the body can find resistance. A smooth glass floor gives a snake very little to push against, which is why many snakes struggle on slick surfaces. Outside, the world is full of tiny edges, a root crossing the trail, a clump of moss, a crack in sun-baked soil. Every small, uneven place can help the body move. In open deserts, loose sand creates a different problem. Sand shifts away when pressed. A snake trying to push sideways through it may lose force as the surface slips beneath the body. This is where sidewinding becomes useful. The sidewinder rattlesnake, Crotellus cerastes, lives in sandy deserts of the southwestern United States and northwestern Mexico. Its movement looks almost like a rolling ribbon. Instead of dragging the whole body across the sand, it lifts sections into the air and places them down again at an angle. Only a few parts touch the ground at one time. The tracks left behind can look like a row of separate J-shaped marks spaced across the dune. This reduces slipping and also lowers contact with hot sand. In desert sunlight, sand can become far hotter than the air above it. By lifting much of the body, the snake moves across a difficult surface with less heat and less wasted effort. In tighter spaces, another method appears. Concertina motion is used when a snake moves through a tunnel, a narrow crack, or along a branch where it needs to brace itself. The word concertina comes from a folding musical instrument that expands and contracts. The snake gathers part of its body into bends, anchors those bends against the walls or surface, then stretches the front forward. After that, the rear is pulled up. A rat snake climbing inside a hollow tree can use this kind of movement. A snake moving through a narrow burrow can do the same. The body acts in sections, holding and reaching with careful control. This motion can be slower than lateral undulation, yet it gives the snake grip in places where open curves would not work well. Large snakes have another quiet way of moving. Boas, pythons, and other heavy-bodied snakes can use rectilinear motion. Rectilinear means moving in a straight line. A large python crossing a dirt floor may glide forward without the obvious side-to-side waves seen in smaller snakes. Under the skin, muscles pull the wide belly scales forward, set them down, and draw the body over them. The motion happens in small steps along the underside. To watch it from above, the snake can look almost still, while the body slowly advances. This is useful for large snakes that spend time on the ground and do not need to rush. A Burmese python, which can grow over 5 meters long, may use this slow crawling motion while moving through marsh grass or along the edge of water. Because the body is heavy, smooth control matters. Each patch of belly scale becomes a little contact point with the earth. There are other variations too. Some snakes swim by sending waves through the body and tail. Sea snakes have flattened tails that help push against water. Tree snakes may stretch between branches with careful balance, using curves to hold one branch while the front searches for another. The body plan stays recognizable, but the surface changes everything. Sand asks for lifting. Bark asks for gripping. Water asks for waves. Packed soil asks for steady pressure. A snake's movement is a conversation with the place beneath it. The animal is shaped by the ground, and the ground answers through friction, texture, heat, and slope. Every glide carries information. Every surface changes the path. As the body moves, the world is being touched from head to tail. That close contact makes every surface part of the snake's awareness. A snake has no visible ear flap on the side of its head. There is no outer ear like the rounded ear of a fox, or the small folded ear of a mouse. There is also no open ear hole like the one seen on many lizards. Yet sound and vibration still reach the snake. The key is that sound is movement. A footstep makes the soil tremble slightly. A beetle moving under dry leaves makes tiny scratches and taps. A bird landing on a branch sends a faint shake through the wood. Those movements can pass into the snake's lower jaw, then through bones in the skull, and finally into the inner ear. The inner ear is the hidden part of the ear that detects vibration and balance. In snakes, it is still present. It sits inside the head, protected by bone, waiting for motion carried through the ground or through the body. A snake resting with its jaw against soil is in a good position to notice low vibrations. Heavy footsteps nearby may reach it before the person is close. The snake may lift its head, pause, or slip away into cover. This sensitivity does not mean snakes hear the world the way humans do. Human hearing is shaped by airborne sound entering the ear. A snake's hearing is shaped more strongly by contact, pressure, and vibration. The ground becomes a quiet messenger. Packed dirt carries one kind of signal. Dry leaves scatter it. A hollow log changes it again, because wood can carry vibration along its length. This is why a snake stretched across a branch is not simply lying on a branch. The branch is also a line of information. If something lands farther away, the wood trembles in a way the snake may detect. The underside of the body helps keep that connection steady. The large scales along a snake's belly are called ventral scales. Ventral means on the underside. These scales are wider than the small scales along the back and sides. They often overlap like roof shingles, forming a smooth row from the neck area toward the tail. When the snake moves, these scales catch gently against rough surfaces. On bark, they can grip tiny ridges. On stone, they can press into small cracks. On sand, they can spread contact across the loose grains. A snake's belly is both a moving surface and a sensing surface. It is easy to picture a garter snake crossing a garden path after rain. The damp soil is cool. Small grains stick lightly between the scales. A worm has left a soft tunnel near the surface. A person walking several meters away sends dull pulses through the ground. The snake's body receives these signals without needing to turn an ear toward them. Even stillness has contact. When a rattlesnake coils on warm desert gravel, much of its body rests against stone. The stones hold heat from the sun. They also carry tiny mechanical changes. A lizard scurrying over nearby rock makes a different pattern than wind moving dry grass. A kangaroo rat landing from a hop sends a sharper tap into the ground. Some signals may be too faint or too mixed to matter. Others may be clear enough to change the snake's behavior. In forests, the surface becomes softer. Leaf litter makes a loose blanket over soil. A snake sliding under it feels stems, curled leaves, insect tunnels, roots, and patches of moisture. Each surface changes how the body grips. A dry oak leaf may slide. A damp maple leaf may cling. A root may give the belly scales a firm edge to press against. The snake's body is always making small adjustments, even when those changes are hard to see. This is part of why snakes can seem so quiet. Their bodies stay low. Their weight is spread out. Instead of striking the ground with feet, they share pressure along many points. The result is movement that can pass through grass without a heavy rhythm. For animals nearby, that silence matters. For the snake, the same low body that keeps it hidden also keeps it connected. The soil gives texture. The bark gives grip. The stone gives warmth. The sand gives both resistance and warning. A snake lives close to the surfaces of the world, reading them with scales, bones, muscles, and inner ears. Still, the ground is only part of the message. Above it, the air is filled with traces too small to see, drifting from leaves, water, animals, and hidden paths. Those tiny traces drift everywhere around a snake. They rise from damp soil after rain. They cling to the skin of a mouse. They settle along a trail where another snake passed earlier in the evening. A snake gathers them with one of its most familiar movements. The tongue flicks out. It splits at the tip. It touches the air for less than a second, then disappears back into the mouth. The motion can look nervous to human eyes, but it is careful sampling. A snake's tongue is moist, and that moisture helps collect tiny chemical particles. Some particles float in the air. Some rest on leaves, stones, logs, and soil. When the tongue touches them, it carries a small chemical sample back inside. Near the roof of the mouth is a paired sensory structure called the Jacobson's organ. Scientists also call it the vomeronasal organ. Vomeronasal simply means it is connected with the mouth and nose area. This organ is used by many animals, including lizards, snakes, and some mammals, to detect chemical signals that ordinary smell may not fully capture. Inside the snake's mouth, The tongue tips touch small openings that lead toward this organ. The collected particles are delivered there. Then the snake's nervous system begins to sort the information. A garter snake moving through grass may pick up the trail of an earthworm. A king snake may follow the scent of another snake. A male rattlesnake during breeding season may detect chemical signals left by a female moving over rock or sand. These signals can remain on a surface after the animal itself has gone. The world around the snake becomes layered with chemical history. A patch of soil may hold the trace of a frog. A fallen branch may carry the path of a lizard. The edge of a burrow may smell of warm fur, old leaves, and hidden movement. The fork in the tongue makes the system even more useful. Each tip can collect particles from a slightly different place. If the left tip gathers a stronger signal than the right tip, the snake can turn toward that side. If the right tip gathers more, the snake can adjust the other way. This gives the snake a chemical sense of direction. It is a little like comparing sound between two ears, but with scent instead of hearing. The distance between the tongue tips is small, yet for an animal moving close to the ground, small differences matter. A trail only a few centimeters wide can still be followed. A scent line crossing a stone can still lead forward. A snake moving slowly over leaf litter may pause and flick its tongue many times. Each flick adds a little more information. The head shifts, the neck bends, the body follows the path that the chemicals suggest. Some snakes use this ability while hunting. Others use it to find shelter, water, or mates. Young snakes begin using tongue flicks early in life because chemical tracking is built deeply into snake behavior. Even a newly hatched snake, small enough to rest in a human palm, may begin testing the world with quick, delicate tongue movements. For humans, air often seems empty unless it carries a strong smell, like smoke, cut grass, or rain on pavement. For a snake, faint chemical traces can hold meaning even when nothing obvious is visible. A mouse hidden in grass leaves molecules behind as it moves. A frog sitting near a pond gives off signals from its skin. Another snake crossing a trail may leave pheromones, which are chemical messages used between animals of the same species. These messages can tell a snake about identity, readiness to mate, or recent movement. The tongue does not chew or sting. It does not work like a weapon. It is more like a soft collecting tool, reaching briefly into the surrounding world and returning with invisible details. The head becomes a quiet sorting place, where soil, skin, water, and warm animal paths are turned into direction. This is why a snake can seem to know something hidden. It may pause beside an old root. It may lift its head slightly above the grass. It may flick its tongue toward a space that looks empty. The emptiness is carrying information. And as the snake reads it, the world begins to widen beyond touch, into a hidden map of chemicals, trails, and living warmth. On a dark forest floor, the visible world can become very small. Leaves lose their color. Tree roots turn into low shapes. A mouse moving near a stone may be almost impossible to see with human eyes. For some snakes, darkness still holds a quiet kind of detail. Pit vipers, some boas, and some pythons can detect infrared radiation. Infrared radiation is the warmth that objects give off. A living body gives off more of it than a cool rock, a fallen leaf, or damp soil. This means a warm animal can stand out even when the night looks black. Pit vipers include rattlesnakes, copperheads, and cottonmouths. They have a heat-sensing pit on each side of the head, usually between the eye and the nostril. The pit looks like a small hollow in the face. Inside it is a thin membrane filled with sensitive nerve endings. That membrane responds when infrared warmth reaches it. The signal then travels through the trigeminal nerve, a major nerve in the face. The snake's brain can combine this heat information with ordinary sight. A rattlesnake resting near a desert wash at night may not need bright moonlight to notice a kangaroo rat. The rat's body is warm. The sand around it is cooler. That difference gives the snake a thermal outline. Some experiments suggest these heat organs can respond to temperature differences as small as a few thousandths of a degree Celsius under the right conditions. That is far smaller than the difference a human hand would notice. The snake is not feeling heat by touching it. It is sensing it from a distance. Boas and pythons can have a different version of this system. Instead of one large pit on each side of the face, many species have small heat-sensitive pits along the upper or lower lips. A ball python has labial pits along the mouth. An emerald tree boa has clear heat-sensitive pits that help it hunt from branches in tropical forests. A python resting in darkness may hold its head still, tongue flicking softly, while the pits gather the warmth pattern ahead. A bird sleeping on a branch. A rodent moving near a root. A small mammal tucked inside grass. The heat does not form a sharp picture like a camera image. It gives the snake useful contrast. Warm against cool. Near against far. Moving against still background. This matters because many snakes hunt at night or in dim cover. A mouse can freeze. A lizard can hide among stones. A bird can rest under leaves. Heat is harder to hide than color or movement. Every warm-blooded animal gives off infrared energy as part of being alive. Mammals and birds keep their bodies warm from within. That steady warmth leaks into the surrounding air. To a snake with heat pits, the night is not empty. It contains gentle differences in temperature. A rock that held sunlight may glow warmly after dusk. A patch of wet soil may feel cooler. A mouse trail may briefly disturb grass. The snake must sort these signals carefully. Not every warm shape is food. A sun-warmed stone can hold heat for hours. A branch may stay warmer on one side. The ground may change temperature as clouds pass over the moonlit sky. The heat sense works together with smell, touch, and sight. A tongue flick may tell the snake that prey has passed through. A vibration may suggest movement nearby. The heat pits can help place the warm body in space. Together, these signals make the strike more accurate. In lab studies, pit vipers can still aim at warm targets in complete darkness. The head turns. The neck forms a curve. The body holds steady. The strike travels toward a shape the eyes alone might never have found. This ability gives snakes an almost hidden kind of awareness. It also makes their world difficult for humans to imagine. A room, a forest, or a desert path looks one way to us. To a heat-sensing snake, the same place may be layered with warm stones, cool shadows, resting animals, and fading traces of the day's sunlight. Vision, for snakes, can mean more than color and shape. It can include warmth itself, gathered quietly through small openings in the face. And once heat becomes part of seeing, the eyes begin to seem less like a single doorway and more like one piece of a wider sensory world. The visible eye carries its own quiet clues. Look closely at different snakes and the pupil can tell a small story about how the animal lives. Many snakes that move and hunt during the day have round pupils. Garter snakes, racers, and many rat snakes often have this simple circular shape. A round pupil works well in bright light, when the world is full of color, edges, and movement. A garter snake crossing a garden in the afternoon may use ordinary vision to notice the shape of grass, the dark opening under a stone, or the sudden movement of a worm near wet soil. Other snakes have vertical pupils, shaped like a narrow slit. This kind of pupil appears in many nocturnal hunters and ambush predators. A cat has a similar slit-shaped pupil, although cats and snakes are very different animals. The shape helps control how much light enters the eye. In bright conditions, the pupil can close down into a thin line. In dim light, it can open wider, letting more light reach the retina. The retina is the light-sensitive layer at the back of the eye. It turns light into signals that the brain can use. A viper resting among leaves at dusk may need to judge distance carefully as a mouse moves nearby. For a striking animal, small distance errors matter. The head may only move a short distance, but the aim must be exact. Vertical pupils can help with depth cues at close range, especially for animals that hunt from stillness near the ground. Snakes also have eyes that stay open all the time. A clear scale covers each eye like a tiny window. This scale is called a spectacle, or brill. Brill comes from a German word for glasses. The name fits well, because the scale acts like a built-in pair of clear goggles. It protects the eye from dust, soil, sticks, sand, and rough leaves. A burrowing snake pushing through loose earth would damage soft eyelids quickly. A snake moving under bark or through dry grass needs a smooth, protected surface over the eye. The spectacle gives that protection while still allowing light to pass through. Because of this clear scale, snakes do not blink in the familiar human way. The gaze can seem steady, even when the animal is calm. A snake coiled under a branch may appear to stare without pause. In reality, the eye is simply covered by a fixed transparent layer. That steady look has helped make snakes feel strange in human imagination, because blinking is one of the small signs we expect from animals around us. Snakes clean and renew this eye covering when they shed. Shedding is the process of replacing the outer layer of skin. As a snake grows, its old outer skin becomes too tight or worn. A new layer forms underneath. Before the old skin comes away, fluid gathers between the old layer and the new one. That fluid also separates the old eye covering from the new clear scale beneath it. During this time, the eyes can look cloudy, milky, or bluish. Snake keepers often call this being in blue. The color can be easy to see in species with darker eyes, like ball pythons or corn snakes. For several days, the snake may see less clearly. It may hide more, move less, and avoid feeding. This makes sense. When vision is dulled, staying under cover is safer. After the fluid clears and the old skin loosens, the eyes often become clear again shortly before the shed begins. Then the snake rubs its head against a rough surface, such as bark, stone, or packed soil. A split opens near the mouth or nose. The snake works forward, turning the old skin inside out as it passes over the body. A complete shed can include the old spectacles as two clear caps attached to the face portion of the skin. Left behind on the ground, the shed skin may show the scale pattern, the belly plates, and even the delicate shape of the eye coverings. The eyes of a snake are shaped by habitat, light, movement, and protection. A round pupil in daylight, a narrow slit at dusk, a clear scale over the eye, a cloudy blue phase before the old surface is left behind. Each detail helps the snake keep moving through a world of soil, branches, leaves, shadows, and close targets. Once the target is found, the head itself begins to reveal an even stranger design, because the mouth must make room for a meal wider than the face. At the front of that meal is a skull built for careful movement. The old phrase says, "A snake unhinges its jaw." The real design is more interesting. A snake's jaw stays connected, but many of the connections are soft and flexible. Instead of being locked together like the bones in a human face, several skull bones are joined by stretchy ligaments. A ligament is a tough band of tissue that connects bone to bone. In a snake, those ligaments allow the mouth to widen, shift, and adjust as food moves inward. The lower jaw is especially important. In humans, the left and right halves of the lower jaw are fused at the chin into one solid piece. In snakes, the two halves can move separately. They are connected at the front by flexible tissue. This gives each side some freedom. When a snake begins to swallow, one side of the jaw can grip forward while the other side follows. Then the pattern changes. The mouth slowly works over the prey, side by side, in small controlled movements. People sometimes describe this as walking the jaws. That image is useful because the prey does not simply slide in all at once. The skull advances over it. Inside the mouth, curved teeth point backward. These teeth are useful for holding because they make it easier for prey to move inward than outward. A rat snake swallowing a mouse may pause with the prey partly inside the mouth. Then one side of the upper jaw shifts. Small bones near the roof of the mouth, including the palatine and pterygoid bones, help pull and guide the meal backward. The other side follows. Slowly, the head moves forward around the prey like a soft frame changing shape. Behind the lower jaw, another bone helps create this wide opening. It is called the quadrate bone. In many animals, the jaw hinge is short and firm. In snakes, the quadrate bone is longer and more mobile. It acts like a swinging support between the skull and the lower jaw. Because of this, the mouth can open very wide while still staying connected. This is why a snake's head can look so different during feeding. The skin stretches, the lower jaws spread, the skull bones shift in small ways. The entire head becomes more flexible than its resting shape suggests. A snake's skin also helps. The skin around the mouth and neck can stretch enough to pass a large meal into the body. The scales separate slightly as the skin expands. Underneath, muscles continue the slow work of pulling food down. Some species are famous for this ability. African egg-eating snakes can swallow bird eggs much wider than their heads. Their jaws stretch around the egg, and special bony projections inside the throat help crack the shell after it is swallowed. Pythons and boas can take large mammals or birds, depending on the size of the snake. A small garter snake may swallow an earthworm or frog. The same basic skull principle works across very different meals. Breathing has its own solution during this process. A snake cannot chew a meal into small pieces. The mouth may be full for a long time. Near the front of the lower mouth is an opening called the glottis. This leads to the windpipe. During swallowing, the glottis can extend forward, helping the snake breathe while the meal is still passing through the mouth. It is a quiet detail, but it matters. A large meal can take many minutes, sometimes longer, to swallow. The body must keep breathing, while the skull and throat do their slow work. After the head finally passes over the widest part, the meal moves into the neck and then deeper into the body. From the outside, a visible bulge may travel slowly along the snake's length. The skull has finished its strange, careful task. The mouth returns toward its resting shape. The jawbones settle. The skin relaxes. What looked impossible becomes a sequence of small movements, each one supported by flexible bone, elastic tissue, backward curving teeth, and patient muscle. The mouth opens the path, but the rest of the body must now take over, because a swallowed meal becomes a long project of heat, acid, enzymes, and time. Once the prey has passed behind the head, the snake becomes very still. A visible swelling may rest inside the neck or body, slowly changing shape as muscles move it deeper. For an animal that swallows food whole, digestion is a major event. A mouse, frog, fish, bird, or egg enters the body as one complete meal. There is no chewing to make the work easier. The stomach must handle skin, muscle, organs, small bones, and other tissues from the outside inward. Strong acid begins the process. In many snakes, the stomach becomes much more active after feeding. Acid is released into the stomach, and digestive enzymes begin breaking large food molecules into smaller pieces. An enzyme is a protein that helps a chemical process happen faster. Some enzymes break down proteins in muscle. Others help process fat. The meal slowly changes from a solid shape into material the intestine can absorb. Bones can soften under strong stomach acid. Calcium and other minerals are released. Soft tissues are broken down by acid and enzymes together. Fur and feathers contain keratin, a tough protein also found in claws and nails, so those parts may be harder to fully digest. Even then, much of the useful energy inside the meal is pulled into the snake's body. Temperature matters during this whole process. Because snakes depend on outside heat, a meal digests better when the body is warm enough. A snake that has eaten may rest in a safe, warm place, such as under a sunlit rock, inside a sheltered burrow, or near a patch of warm ground. The warmth helps chemical reactions move at the right speed. Cold slows digestion. Too much heat can be dangerous. The snake must choose its resting place carefully, using behavior to manage the work happening inside. Pythons show this in an especially clear way. After a Burmese python eats a large meal, the body changes dramatically. Its small intestine can grow much larger within about 24 to 48 hours. The lining of the intestine, where nutrients are absorbed, becomes thicker and more active. The liver, pancreas, kidneys, and heart can also increase their activity during digestion. Oxygen use rises sharply as the body powers this work. In some studies, Burmese pythons digesting very large meals raise their metabolic rate many times above resting level, with the biggest meals producing increases that can reach dozens of times higher than normal. For a snake that may have been resting quietly for weeks, this is like switching on a hidden factory. Then, after the meal is processed, the system quiets again. The intestine shrinks back toward its fasting size. The organs reduce their workload. The body returns to a slower state. This ability is useful because large snakes may eat only occasionally. A python does not need its digestive system running at full strength every day when no meal is present. Keeping those organs highly active all the time would waste energy. Instead, the body waits. Then, when food arrives, it builds up the tools needed to use it. A rattlesnake, a boa, or a python may spend many days after feeding in a protected place. Movement becomes slower. The body is heavier. A large meal can make escape harder, so cover matters. A hollow log, a rock crevice, dense grass, or a quiet burrow becomes more than shelter. It becomes part of digestion. Inside that hidden space, acid works. Enzymes continue. The intestine absorbs sugars, fats, amino acids, minerals, and water. Those nutrients become fuel for movement, growth, healing, venom production, reproduction, and the next shed of skin. The outside of the snake may look calm during this time. Only the swelling gives away the size of the meal. Day by day, the shape softens and becomes less visible. The long body returns to its usual outline. What began as a difficult object inside the mouth becomes stored energy inside the tissues. This slow meal makes sense because the entire animal is built around patience. A snake can wait before hunting. It can wait after feeding. It can let warmth, chemistry, and time do their quiet work before the body asks for motion again. Stillness can be one of a snake's strongest tools. Under a flat stone warmed by morning sun, a snake may rest for hours with no visible change. The body is quiet. The ribs barely move. The tongue may flick only now and then. Yet this quiet is part of how the animal lives. Snakes are ectotherms. That word means their body temperature depends mostly on the world around them. Mammals, like mice, foxes, and humans, make a great deal of heat inside the body. Food is burned steadily to keep the body warm. A snake uses a different system. It gathers heat from sunlight, warm rocks, soil, water, or sheltered air. When the body becomes too cool, movement slows, digestion slows, muscles respond less quickly. When the body becomes warm enough, the snake can move, hunt, digest, and react more easily. This is why a garter snake may bask on a stone wall in spring. After a cold night, the stone catches sunlight before the shaded grass does. The snake presses its belly and sides close to the surface, letting heat pass into the body. In cooler places like southern Canada or the northern United States, this kind of basking is especially important. A snake emerging after winter may need hours of warmth before it can move well. In hot deserts, the problem changes. A sidewinder rattlesnake in the Mojave Desert may avoid the open midday ground because sand can become dangerously hot. Instead, it may shelter in the shade of a shrub, rest in a rodent burrow, or become active in the cooler hours near dusk and night. The same animal that needs warmth also needs protection from too much of it. Heat is useful only within a safe range. Too little slows the body. Too much can damage it. So a snake manages temperature by moving between places. Sunlight, shade, a burrow, a patch of water, a cool space under a log. These small choices act like a hidden thermostat. A water snake may slip into a pond when the air is hot. A python may rest in damp vegetation. A rattlesnake may back into a rocky crevice where the temperature changes slowly through the day. The body does not control heat in the same constant way a mammal does. so the landscape becomes part of the snake's biology. This way of living saves energy. A mouse must eat often because its warm body burns fuel quickly. A small bird may need food every day, sometimes many times a day. A snake can go much longer between meals. Some small snakes may eat every few days or weeks during active seasons. Large snakes, such as pythons and boas, may go weeks or even months without feeding, especially after a large meal. In rare cases, big snakes in safe conditions can survive very long fasts by lowering activity and using stored energy slowly. The body spends carefully. Muscles wait. Organs quiet down after digestion. Movement is saved for moments that matter. This does not make a snake lazy. It makes the snake efficient. An ambush predator may lie beside a trail used by mice. A green tree python may coil on a branch with its head resting in the center of the loops. A rattlesnake may wait near a burrow entrance where small mammals pass at night. Hours can go by. The snake's stillness blends with bark, leaves, sand, or stone. For prey animals, a shape that does not move can disappear into the background. For the snake, waiting costs less energy than chasing. This is why doing almost nothing can be such a successful strategy. The animal needs enough warmth to act. It needs enough patience to wait. It needs enough stored energy to last until the right moment arrives. Across millions of years, this low-energy design has allowed snakes to live in places where food may be seasonal, scattered, or difficult to catch. A dry hillside, a cold spring meadow, a tropical forest floor, a muddy riverbank after sunset. Each place offers warmth and shelter in different patterns. The snake reads those patterns with its whole body, choosing when to rest, when to warm, and when to move. A life built on stillness can travel farther than it first appears, because patience opens habitats that constant hunger would close. That patient way of living has carried snakes into an astonishing range of places. Today, snakes live on every continent except Antarctica. They are found in dry deserts, wet forests, open grasslands, rice fields, mangrove swamps, mountain slopes, coral reefs, and cold northern valleys. Their bodies stay close to the surface, but the surface can change completely. A snake may cross loose sand in Arizona. Another may rest on a branch in Borneo. Another may hunt among seagrass in the Indian Ocean. Another may spend winter deep below frozen ground in Manitoba. The same basic body plan keeps changing its use. In deserts, snakes must handle heat, dryness, and open space. The sidewinder rattlesnake of the Mojave and Sonoran deserts moves over sand with that lifted sideways motion that leaves separate marks behind it. Its pale body helps it blend into dry ground. Small horn-like scales above its eyes help shade the face slightly, giving it the name horned rattlesnake in some places. During hot months, it may avoid the strongest sun and become active when the sand cools. A desert snake's life is shaped by timing, because a few degrees can decide whether movement is safe. In trees, the body meets a different kind of world. Branches bend, leaves block sight. Gaps open between one limb and another. Tree snakes often have long, slender bodies that help them balance and stretch. The green tree python of New Guinea and northern Australia often rests in a neat coil over a branch, with its head placed in the middle. Young green tree pythons may be yellow or reddish before turning green as adults. That color change helps them match different parts of the forest as they grow. Some Asian flying snakes, such as the paradise tree snake, can launch from branches and glide. They flatten the body in the air, making a shallow, curved shape that catches airflow. The glide does not look like a bird's flight. It is a controlled fall through open space with the body rippling gently as it crosses from one tree to another. Water has shaped snakes in even more dramatic ways. Sea snakes live in warm parts of the Indian and Pacific Oceans. Many have paddle-shaped tails that help push them through water. Some true sea snakes spend nearly their whole lives at sea, hunting fish among reefs and open water. Their nostrils sit high on the snout and can close like little valves when they dive. A yellow-bellied sea snake can live far from shore, floating and swimming across tropical ocean currents. Sea kraits, which are related, often return to land to rest and lay eggs. Their lives move between reef and rock, between water and air. A sea snake's body still shows the snake pattern, but the tail has become a swimming blade, and the lungs can hold air for long dives beneath the surface. Cold places ask for another solution. Snakes cannot stay active through a freezing winter in the same way mammals do. In northern regions, many enter brumation. Brumation is a slowed-down state used by reptiles during cold periods. It resembles hibernation because the animal becomes less active and uses less energy. During brumation, a snake may still wake or shift position if conditions change. The body slows, breathing becomes less frequent, and digestion nearly stops. The red-sided garter snakes of Manitoba are famous for gathering in large numbers at winter dens. At places like the Narcisse snake dens, thousands use cracks and underground spaces in limestone to get below the frost line. When spring warms the ground, they emerge together, creating one of the largest snake gatherings in the world. In those colder landscapes, the snake's survival depends on finding a shelter deep enough to stay above freezing. A shallow hiding place may become deadly. A deep crevice can hold just enough warmth from the earth. This range is part of what makes snakes so successful. A body without limbs can press through soil. A long spine can wrap around branches. A flattened tail can move through water. A slowed metabolism can wait out winter beneath stone. Across each habitat, the snake does not need to become a completely different animal. It only needs to adjust the same ancient plan to a new kind of surface. Sand, bark, seawater, and frozen ground each ask for different answers. Over time, those answers have stretched snakes into forms so small, so heavy, so thin, and so long that the group begins to feel almost endless. At the smallest edge of the snake world, the body can almost disappear into soil. Thread snakes are among the tiniest snakes on Earth. Some are thin enough to look like moving pieces of dark thread. The Barbados thread snake, Tetrachelostoma carle, is often listed among the smallest known snakes, with adults reaching only about 10 centimeters long. That is shorter than many pencils. A snake that small cannot hunt mice, birds, or frogs. Its world is much closer to the ground. It moves through loose soil, leaf litter, and rotting wood, where tiny insects and soft-bodied larvae live in hidden spaces. Many thread snakes feed on ant and termite eggs, larvae, or pupae. A termite nest may seem like a small patch of earth from above, but inside it are tunnels, chambers, workers, soldiers, moisture, and warmth. For a thread snake, that hidden place can be a whole landscape. Its narrow body helps it slip through tiny gaps. Its smooth scales reduce friction as it pushes between grains of soil. Its head is small and rounded, useful for moving through tight spaces where a wider skull would catch. At this scale, being almost invisible becomes an advantage. A bird may overlook it. A larger snake may pass by. Even a human kneeling in a garden might mistake it for a worm. Far away from that buried world, the largest snakes shape their habitats in a very different way. The green anaconda, Eunectes murinus, lives in South America, especially around swamps, slow rivers, and flooded grasslands in places such as the Amazon and Orinoco basins. It is one of the heaviest snakes alive. Large females can grow over 5 meters long, and very heavy individuals may weigh well over 100 kilograms. Water supports that weight. In a river channel or flooded marsh, a massive body can move more easily than it could across dry land. The anaconda's eyes and nostrils sit high on the head, allowing much of the body to remain below the surface. Only a small part of the face may show above the water. The rest stays hidden among floating plants, brown water, and submerged branches. A heavy snake changes what it can hunt. Young anacondas may eat fish, birds, or small mammals. Large adults can take bigger prey, including capybaras and caimans. The snake's size gives it access to animals that would be far beyond the reach of a smaller species. In Southeast Asia, another giant stretches the limits of length. The reticulated python, Malaopython reticulatus, is often considered the longest living snake. Adults over 6 meters have been recorded, and some exceptional individuals grow even longer. Its name comes from the net-like pattern on its skin. Reticulated means arranged like a net. The pattern breaks up the body's outline in forests, plantations, river edges, and village margins. A long snake can move through tall grass with much of its body hidden. It can swim across channels. It can climb when younger and lighter. As it grows heavier, the ground and water become more important. Size changes every part of a snake's life. A tiny thread snake can enter the narrow tunnels of social insects. A medium-sized rat snake can climb barns, trees, and stone walls in search of eggs or rodents. A green anaconda can use water as cover and support. A reticulated python can become a major predator in the places where it lives. The same long body plan stretches across these forms, yet each size creates different rules. Smallness allows secrecy. Great weight allows power in water. Extreme length allows reach through grass, branches, and broken cover. A snake's body is always answering the world around it. How wide is the opening? How heavy is the prey? How rough is the surface? How much shelter does the habitat give? The smallest snakes survive by entering spaces that larger animals cannot use. The largest survive by taking opportunities that smaller snakes cannot handle. Between those two ends are thousands of quiet variations. A ribbon snake moving along a pond. A sand boa buried with only its head showing. A tree boa looped over a branch in the dark. Different sizes, different surfaces, different prey. Yet every one of them must solve the same old task. Food has to be found, reached, held, and swallowed by a body without hands. That task begins long before the mouth opens. A snake first has to place its body in the right part of the world. For many species, hunting begins with stillness. An ambush predator waits where another animal is likely to pass. A rattlesnake may rest beside a rodent trail near a desert shrub. A green tree python may hang in a loose coil over a branch used by birds or small mammals. A water moccasin may hold near the edge of a pond, where frogs move between mud and floating plants. This kind of hunting depends on patience and position. The snake saves energy by letting the landscape bring food closer. Its colors help it settle into the background. Brown scales can blend with dry leaves. Green scales can disappear among vines. Blotched patterns can break up the outline of the body, making one long shape harder to notice. For an animal that waits, camouflage is part of the hunt. Other snakes search more actively. A coach whip in the southern United States can move quickly across open ground, lifting its head slightly as it looks for lizards, birds, and small mammals. A king snake may explore under boards, logs, rocks, and old burrows. A garter snake may travel along the damp edge of a stream, flicking its tongue near the scent of worms, frogs, or fish. Active hunting uses more energy, but it allows a snake to find food that does not pass close to a waiting place. The hunting method depends on body shape, habitat, prey, and temperature. Some snakes are built for sudden capture. Some are built for steady searching. Some use both, depending on the season or the kind of prey nearby. When a constrictor catches food, the coils become the main tool. Boas, pythons, king snakes, and many rat snakes can wrap around prey with strong loops of muscle. For a long time, people often imagined constriction as simple crushing force. The main effect is more precise. Research on constrictors shows that the coils can interfere with circulation, reducing the flow of blood through the prey's body. Each time the prey exhales or shifts, the snake can tighten slightly. The pressure is controlled by the snake's muscles and body position. A boa does not need arms to hold. The whole body becomes the hold. This is possible because the snake's spine, ribs, and muscles can wrap in a strong, flexible loop. The same body that glides through grass can become a quiet ring of pressure. Venomous snakes use a different system. Their fangs deliver venom, which is a biological mixture made inside special glands. In vipers, the fangs are long and hinged, folding back when the mouth is closed and swinging forward during a strike. In cobras and coral snakes, the fangs are shorter and fixed near the front of the mouth. Rear fang snakes have enlarged teeth farther back, and many deliver venom in a slower or more limited way. The fang shape tells part of the hunting story. A viper can strike quickly and release, letting venom begin its work, while the snake avoids a struggle. A cobra may hold and chew briefly to help move venom into the bite. Different designs fit different lives. The strike itself can be extremely fast. Some vipers can launch the head and neck forward in a fraction of a second. The body forms a curve, muscles contract, and the head moves toward the target with practiced accuracy. Heat-sensing pits, tongue-gathered chemicals, vibration, and vision may all contribute before that brief motion begins. A strike is the visible moment at the end of many hidden signals. Venom can help immobilize prey, begin breaking down tissues, or affect important body systems. The details vary widely between species. A rattlesnake, a cobra, and a sea snake do not carry the same chemical recipe. Each venom has been shaped by the prey a snake eats and the way it hunts. Even within one broad group, venom can differ from place to place. A snake that feeds often on lizards may face a different challenge than one that feeds on warm-blooded rodents. The chemistry follows the life of the animal. For the snake, hunting is a careful balance between energy and risk. A missed strike wastes effort. A struggling meal can injure the snake. A large prey animal may be dangerous to handle. So every method, waiting, searching, coiling, striking, is shaped by the need to capture food safely enough to survive. A quiet body under leaves may seem simple from above. Inside that stillness are muscles ready to tighten, fangs shaped for delivery, senses gathering faint clues, and chemical tools waiting in glands behind the head. The motion may be brief, but the design behind it reaches deep into the body's hidden chemistry. Inside the glands behind a venomous snake's head, the hunting system becomes chemical. Venom begins as a living mixture. It contains proteins, enzymes, salts, and small molecules made by specialized cells. A protein is a large molecule built by the body to do a job. An enzyme is a kind of protein that speeds up a chemical reaction. In venom, these ingredients can affect nerves, blood, muscles, cells, or the way tissues hold together. The exact mixture depends on the snake. A rattlesnake does not carry the same venom as a cobra. A coral snake does not carry the same venom as a sea snake. Even two closely related snakes can have different blends if they hunt different prey or live in different places. A snake that feeds mostly on lizards may benefit from one chemical balance. A snake that feeds mostly on rodents may benefit from another. Over many generations, venom changes with diet, habitat, body size, and hunting style. It is shaped by evolution, the slow process where traits that help survival become more common over time. This makes venom feel less like a single substance and more like a recipe that keeps changing. The western diamondback rattlesnake, found across parts of the southwestern United States and northern Mexico, has venom that can vary between regions. Some populations may carry stronger amounts of certain toxins than others. The same broad species can hold local chemical differences, almost like different dialects of the same language. In Australia, the inland taipan is known for extremely potent venom, shaped in part by hunting small mammals. In the ocean, sea snakes have venom suited to fish and life underwater. In Africa and Asia, cobras carry venoms that often include molecules affecting nerve signals. Each example shows how closely venom is tied to the animal's daily life. Venom also takes energy to make. The glands must build and store those molecules. After a snake uses venom, the supply has to be replaced. For this reason, many venomous snakes behave carefully with it. A venomous snake does not benefit from wasting venom on every disturbance. If a person, large mammal, or unfamiliar animal comes too close, many snakes first use warning signals. A rattlesnake vibrates the loose segments at the end of its tail, producing a dry buzzing sound. A cobra may lift the front of its body and spread the ribs in its neck to form a hood. A cottonmouth may open its pale mouth as a visual warning. These displays give space. They reduce the chance of contact. They allow the snake to avoid using chemical tools needed for feeding. Some venomous snakes can also deliver a dry bite. A dry bite means the fangs make contact, but little or no venom is injected. This can happen during defense, especially when the snake is trying to make a threat retreat rather than catch food. The ability varies by species and situation, but it shows that venom delivery can be controlled. The snake is managing risk. It is using behavior before chemistry whenever possible. For prey, the purpose is different. When a venomous snake hunts, venom can help stop a small animal from escaping into a burrow, thick grass, or deep water. A viper may strike a mouse and release it quickly. The snake then follows the scent trail, using its tongue and Jacobson's organ to find the animal after the venom has taken effect. This reduces the danger of holding struggling prey in the mouth. For a small predator with no limbs, that matters. A bite from a rodent can injure a snake's face or eye. Venom helps turn a risky capture into a more controlled process. Some venom ingredients also begin breaking down parts of the meal before digestion fully starts. That can help the body later, when the prey is swallowed whole and the stomach begins its slow work. Seen this way, venom belongs to the same larger pattern as the flexible skull, the heat-sensitive pit, and the long muscular body. It is another tool made for survival. A quiet snake under a rock carries chemistry that may have taken millions of years to shape. The danger is real, and it deserves respect from a distance. The biology is also precise, specific, and deeply tied to the snake's place in the living world. Inside each drop are molecules with different tasks, and those tasks lead into the hidden ways venom can affect a body, one system at a time. Those tasks can be very different from one snake to another. Venom is often described as if it has one single effect. In reality, it can act through several pathways. One group of venom ingredients is called neurotoxic. Neuro means nerve. A neurotoxic venom affects the signals that travel between nerves and muscles. Normally, nerves send tiny electrical and chemical messages that tell muscles when to tighten and relax. Some venom molecules interfere with those messages. In cobras, kraits, coral snakes, and many sea snakes, certain toxins can affect the connection between nerves and muscles. For prey, this can make movement weaker and slower. For the snake, that means a small animal may stop struggling before it can escape into a hole, branch, or patch of water. The chemistry is precise. A molecule may fit onto a nerve receptor almost like a key fitting into a lock. A receptor is a small structure on a cell that receives signals. When venom blocks or changes that signal, the body's normal messages cannot pass in the usual way. Another group of venom effects is often called hemotoxic. Hemo means blood. Hemotoxic venoms can affect blood cells, blood vessels, or clotting. Clotting is the process that helps blood thicken and seal a wound. Some viper venoms contain molecules that disturb this system. A rattlesnake or saw-scaled viper may carry venom that changes how blood flows or clots. For prey animals, these effects can weaken the body quickly. For scientists, they reveal how delicate the blood system is. The same body must keep blood moving smoothly through vessels, while also being ready to seal damage when needed. Venom can push that balance in unusual directions. There are also venom enzymes that act on tissues. These enzymes can help begin breaking down parts of the prey before the snake swallows it. Some affect cell membranes. Some affect proteins that hold tissues together. Some help venom spread through the small spaces between cells. The word enzyme can sound technical, but the idea is simple. An enzyme helps one chemical change happen more easily. In digestion, enzymes help break food apart. In venom, some enzymes begin a similar kind of breakdown outside the stomach, giving the snake an early start on a meal that will later be swallowed whole. This does not mean every venom is neatly divided into one type. Many venoms contain several kinds of molecules working together. A viper venom may affect blood and tissues. A cobra venom may include strong nerve effects along with other ingredients. A sea snake venom may be especially focused on the muscles of fish. The mixture is shaped by the prey, the habitat, and the snake's hunting method. A fish caught in water presents different challenges than a mouse running toward a burrow. A lizard on hot rock presents different challenges than a bird sleeping in low branches. Venom follows those pressures over long stretches of evolutionary time. Even within one species, venom can shift. Young snakes sometimes eat different prey than adults. A juvenile snake may feed on lizards or frogs. An adult may feed more often on mammals or birds. In some species, the venom changes as the snake grows, matching the prey it is most likely to catch at that age. Geography can matter too. A population living in one valley may encounter different prey than a population of the same species living hundreds of kilometers away. Over many generations, small chemical differences can build. A single drop of venom can contain dozens or even hundreds of different components. Each one has a shape, a target, and a job. The snake does not need to understand any of it. Its body makes the mixture because ancestors with useful chemistry were more likely to eat, survive, and reproduce. That slow sorting process gave venom its quiet complexity. For humans, venom deserves caution and distance. For science, it offers a set of natural tools. Because venom molecules affect nerves, blood, muscles, and cells so specifically, researchers can use them to learn how those systems work. The chemistry that helps a snake catch food can also help reveal hidden details inside the human body. Within the danger is information, carefully shaped by millions of years of life close to the ground. That useful chemistry has reached far beyond the snake's own body. In the 20th century, one of the most famous examples came from a South American snake called the Brazilian pit viper, Bothrops jararaca. This snake lives in parts of Brazil, Paraguay, and northern Argentina. It has a patterned brown body that blends well with leaf litter on the forest floor. Its venom affects blood pressure in strong and unusual ways. In the 1960s, scientists studying this venom found small protein pieces called peptides. A peptide is like a short chain made from the same building blocks that form proteins. These peptides could change how the body controls blood vessel tightening and relaxation. That work helped lead to captopril, a blood pressure medicine approved in the United States in 1981. Captopril belongs to a group of medicines called ACE inhibitors. ACE stands for angiotensin converting enzyme. This enzyme helps make blood vessels tighten. When the medicine blocks that enzyme, blood vessels can relax more easily and blood pressure can go down. The path from a pit viper in South America to a pill bottle in a pharmacy is a remarkable one. A molecule that helped a snake catch prey also helped doctors understand a human system that runs quietly through every heartbeat. Venom has also helped scientists study clotting. Clotting is the way blood thickens when the body needs to seal damage. The process must be balanced carefully. Blood has to flow smoothly through vessels, while still being ready to form a seal when needed. Some snake venom molecules push that system in very specific ways. By watching how those molecules act, researchers can learn which parts of the clotting process are most important. Medicines used in hospitals to affect clotting have been inspired by venom studies, including drugs based on molecules first found in vipers and rattlesnakes. The details are complex, but the broader idea is easy to picture. A snake's venom can act like a tiny probe, touching one part of the body's machinery and showing what that part does. Venom has also been studied for pain. Some venom molecules interact with the channels that nerves use to send signals. A nerve channel is a tiny gate in a nerve cell. When the gate opens or closes, electrical messages can move. Pain depends on those messages. If a venom molecule changes one gate, scientists can learn more about how pain travels through the body. This kind of study does not make venom gentle. It makes venom useful to understand. The danger comes from how strongly and precisely these molecules act. That same precision is what makes them valuable in a laboratory. Heart function is another area touched by venom science. The heart depends on careful signals, steady muscle contraction, and blood vessels that open and narrow at the right times. Because some venoms affect blood pressure, vessels, or nerve control, they can reveal hidden steps in how the cardiovascular system works. Cardiovascular means related to the heart and blood vessels. The word can sound large, but it points to a familiar rhythm. The pulse in the wrist, the warmth in the hands, the quiet work of blood moving through the body during rest. Snake venom has helped scientists explore that rhythm in smaller pieces. A molecule from a gland behind a snake's eye can become a clue about an artery, a nerve, or a heart cell. There is something quietly humbling in that connection. A snake resting under leaves may carry chemistry that took millions of years to shape. Humans, arriving much later with glass tubes, careful instruments, and patient testing, found that the same chemistry could open doors into medicine. The snake did not make venom for us. Its body shaped venom for hunting, defense, and survival. Human curiosity turned some of those molecules into lessons. This changes the way the snake appears in the larger story. The body that can frighten us from a trail also teaches us about pressure, clotting, pain, nerves, and the heart. The fang becomes part of a wider pattern. The venom gland becomes a storehouse of biological clues. The animal in the grass becomes both cautious and astonishing, carrying danger, usefulness, and deep evolutionary history in the same small head. That complicated meaning may be one reason people have always watched snakes so closely, placing them in stories, symbols, temples, healing signs, and warnings across the world. Long before snakes became carved symbols or painted signs, they were real animals moving through the same landscapes as early primates. Small primates lived in trees, moved along branches, reached into leaves, and searched the ground for food. A hidden snake could matter in that world. It might be coiled on a branch. It might be resting in leaf litter below. It might be partly covered by grass, with only a curve of body showing. Over long stretches of evolution, animals that notice snake shapes quickly may have had a better chance of surviving. This idea is sometimes called the snake detection theory. It suggests that primate vision became especially good at picking out snake-like forms because snakes were important dangers in ancient environments. Modern studies have tested parts of this idea. In some experiments, monkeys and humans detect snake images faster than many harmless objects, especially when the snake is partly hidden or mixed into a busy background. The shape matters. A long curved line in grass. A sudden low movement near a footpath. A coil pattern partly covered by leaves. These details can catch attention before a person has fully named what they are seeing. The eyes notice the pattern first. The body may react a moment later. A person walking through summer grass might stop because something moved near the ground. The shape may turn out to be a stick, a hose, or a harmless garter snake slipping away. That quick pause happens because the visual system is built to sort possible danger very fast. Deep in the brain, areas linked with attention and emotion help decide what deserves notice. One important area is the amygdala. The amygdala helps process fear, surprise, and emotional importance. Another structure, called the pulvinar, helps move visual information toward attention systems. These names sound technical, but their roles are simple enough to picture. The eyes send information inward. The brain quickly checks certain shapes and movements. If the pattern may matter, attention sharpens. This can happen before careful thinking catches up. Snake fear is also learned. A child may see an adult step back from a snake and copy that reaction. Stories, warning signs, movies, and local traditions can all add layers of fear. In places where venomous snakes are common, caution is practical. A farmer in India watching the edge of a rice field, or a hiker in Arizona scanning sunlit rocks, may learn to notice the ground with care. Culture teaches the names, the rules, and the local risks. Evolution may supply a quick alert system underneath that learning. Together, they make snakes unusually powerful in human attention. That power can feel stronger than the actual moment requires. Most snakes avoid people when they can. Many bites happen when a snake is stepped on, handled, or surprised at close range. A snake crossing a trail usually wants space more than contact. Still, the human body may react to the low curve before the person has time to think calmly. A heartbeat may rise. The eyes may lock onto the ground. The feet may stop. This quick response once had clear value. A small delay around a dangerous animal could have consequences. Fast attention gave the body time to choose distance. That old response remains with us, even in places where the snake is harmless, behind glass, or only printed in a picture. The same quick attention also creates fascination. People look at snakes longer than they expect. They study the pattern of the scales, the steady eyes, the smooth body, the sudden tongue flick. The animal seems familiar enough to recognize, yet different enough to hold attention. It moves through the world in a way our bodies cannot copy. That difference makes it memorable. A snake can be feared, respected, studied, protected, or misunderstood, sometimes all within the same culture. Its shape enters the human eye quickly. Its meaning follows more slowly. This strong pull on attention helps explain why snakes did not remain only animals in grass and stone. They became signs of warning, healing, rebirth, secrecy, and wisdom, carried into human stories by the same watchful gaze that first noticed them moving close to the ground. Human stories carried the snake far beyond the places where it lived. A real animal resting under a stone became a sign, a warning, a healer, a guardian, and a symbol of change. Ancient Egypt placed the cobra on royal crowns. This raised cobra was called the uraeus. It appeared on the forehead of pharaohs as a sign of protection and power. The image was based on the Egyptian cobra, a snake that could lift the front of its body and spread the skin around its neck. To people watching from a temple courtyard or a riverbank near the Nile, That posture looked alert and commanding. The snake became a living shape of watchfulness. In ancient Greece, a snake wrapped around a staff became linked with healing. The staff of Asclepius, named for the Greek god of medicine, is still used as a medical symbol today. Asclepius was often shown holding a simple rod with one snake around it. In healing temples called Asclepiae, people came for rest, ritual care, and treatment. Non-venomous snakes were sometimes kept in these sacred spaces. They moved quietly along floors and stones, adding to the sense that healing came from older, deeper forces in nature. The symbol still appears on medical signs, ambulance badges, and health organizations around the world. A snake around a staff may seem strange at first for medicine, yet the connection becomes easier to understand when the animal is seen through renewal. A snake can leave its old skin behind. The body that emerges underneath looks brighter, cleaner, and newly uncovered. For ancient people, that visible change made the snake a natural image of recovery, return, and fresh life. The idea appears in many places. In South Asia, Nagas are powerful serpent beings connected with water, protection, and hidden realms. In Mesoamerica, the feathered serpent, known as Quetzalcoatl among the Aztecs and Kukulkan among the Maya, joined serpent form with sky, wind, learning, and sacred rule. In West African traditions, serpent figures can be tied to creation, rain, rivers, and the balance of the world. Across cultures with very different languages and landscapes, the snake kept gathering meaning because its real body already felt full of mystery. It could vanish into a crack in stone. It could reappear from grass without sound. It could move through water, trees, soil, and darkness. It could carry danger in its bite, then also become a sign of healing. The same animal held many ideas at once because people met it in many ways. A farmer might see a snake as a protector of grain stores if it hunted mice. A traveler might see one as danger on a narrow path. A healer might see one as renewal because of its shed skin. A storyteller might see one as secret knowledge because it moved close to the ground, slipping into places people could not follow. The Ouroboros is another old image. It shows a snake or serpent biting its own tail, forming a circle. The symbol appeared in ancient Egypt and later in Greek and alchemical traditions. A circle has no clear beginning or end, so the snake became a sign of cycles. Day returning after night, seasons turning through the year, life changing form and continuing onward. The image came from imagination, yet its power rested on something real. Snakes coil naturally. Their bodies can make loops, rings, and spirals. When a snake rests in a tight curve, the shape already looks like a living circle. Silence also added to the meaning. Many animals announce themselves with footsteps, wing beats, calls, or chewing sounds. A snake may arrive without any clear signal. The body stays low. The scales pass over leaves with only a faint dry whisper. The head appears near a root or stone, tongue flicking through air that looks empty. This quietness made snakes feel connected to hidden knowledge. They seemed to know paths underground, paths in grass, paths through scent, warmth, and shadow. Human imagination took those real traits and turned them into symbols. Danger came from venom and surprise. Wisdom came from stillness and patience. Healing came from renewal. Transformation came from the old skin left behind. Among all these meanings, the most physical one is the simplest to see. A snake grows, its outer layer dulls, the eyes turn cloudy, and then the old surface loosens. The symbol becomes biology again, lying in one pale, delicate shape on soil, bark, or stone. That thin leftover surface is called a shed. The process that creates it is called ecdysis. Ecdysis simply means shedding an outer layer. Snakes do this because their outer skin does not grow in the same stretchy way the body beneath it does. As a snake grows, the outer layer becomes worn, tight, or scratched by soil, bark, sand, and stone. A young snake may shed often because its body is growing quickly. Some young snakes can shed several times in a single year. An adult may shed less often, depending on age, food, health, temperature, and season. A snake that eats well and grows steadily may shed more frequently than one living through a colder or drier period. The change begins before the old skin comes loose. A new skin layer forms underneath. Between the old layer and the new one, fluid begins to build. That fluid helps separate the two surfaces. From the outside, the snake's color may look dull. Bright patterns can seem faded. Dark markings may look dusty. A corn snake that was orange and red may take on a muted, cloudy look. A ball python's browns and golds may seem softer, as if a thin veil has settled over the scales. The eyes change too. Each snake eye is covered by a clear scale, called a spectacle or brill. When the snake prepares to shed, fluid also separates the old eye covering from the new one beneath it. This can make the eyes look blue, grey, or milky. During this cloudy phase, vision is reduced. A snake may hide more than usual. It may refuse food. It may become more cautious because the world is less clear. After several days, the eyes often clear again. This can seem surprising because the snake has not shed yet. The fluid has been reabsorbed, and the old skin is now looser. The animal is close to leaving the old layer behind. To begin the shed, the snake usually rubs its nose and mouth against something rough. A rock edge, a piece of bark, packed soil near a burrow entrance, a branch with a dry surface. The rubbing opens a small tear near the front of the head. Once that split forms, the snake pushes forward. The old skin starts to peel back. As the snake moves, the shed turns inside out, the way a sock can turn inside out as it is pulled from a foot. The head comes free first. Then the old covering slides over the neck, body, and tail. If conditions are good, the shed may come away in one long piece. It can carry the pattern of the scales like a soft print. The wide belly scales may be visible. The smaller back scales may show their shape. The old eye caps may remain attached to the head part of the shed, two clear little windows where the eyes had been. A complete shed like this often means the snake had enough moisture and a safe surface to rub against. Dry air can make shedding harder. If the old skin comes off in patches, pieces may remain around the tail tip or over the eyes. In nature, snakes choose damp hiding places, rough logs, burrows, or sheltered rocks that help the process. A garter snake may shed near the edge of wet grass. A desert snake may use a burrow where humidity is higher than open sand. A tree snake may work the old skin loose against bark and branches. The new skin beneath often looks cleaner and brighter. The scales are not new armor in a hard sense. They are folds and plates of outer skin made mostly of keratin, the same tough material found in human fingernails. Keratin helps protect the body from rough surfaces and water loss. After shedding, the snake can move with a fresh surface over its long body. The old layer remains behind like a ghost of shape. It shows where the head was, where the eyes looked out, where the belly touched the ground. Then the snake moves on, carrying the same body under a renewed surface. Growth has left a trace, and the living animal has slipped out of it. That quiet renewal does not end with one snake, because new snakes enter the world already carrying the same ancient tools of scales, tongue, spine, and instinct. A new snake begins small, already shaped by a body plan much older than itself. In many species, that beginning happens inside an egg. The eggs are usually soft and leathery rather than hard like chicken eggs. A corn snake may lay a clutch in a warm, damp hiding place, such as rotting wood, loose soil, or a sheltered space under leaves. The eggs need moisture, because the shell can lose water if the surroundings become too dry. They also need warmth, because reptile embryos develop more slowly when temperatures fall. Inside each egg, the young snake grows curled in a tight loop. The spine forms, the ribs lengthen, the scales begin to pattern the skin. The tongue, skull, eyes, and muscles prepare for a life that will begin without parents bringing food. When the time comes to hatch, many baby snakes use a tiny temporary point on the snout called an egg tooth. This little structure helps cut through the leathery shell. After hatching, the egg tooth falls away. A young rat snake or corn snake may rest near the broken shell for a short time, then slip into cover. Its first days are quiet and vulnerable. The body is small. The world is full of birds, mammals, larger snakes, and changing weather. Even so, the young snake already has the basic tools it needs. It can flick its tongue. It can move in small waves. It can hide under bark or leaves. It can begin searching for tiny prey suited to its size. Other snakes give birth to live young. This means the babies develop inside the mother and are born without being left in a nest of eggs. Garter snakes do this. So do many rattlesnakes, boas, and vipers. Live birth can be useful in colder places because the mother can move through the landscape while carrying the developing young. She may bask in morning sun, retreat to shade, and choose warmer or safer places during the day. In that way, her body helps manage the temperature around the young. For a snake living near the northern edge of its range, this can matter greatly. A clutch of eggs left in cold soil might develop too slowly. Young carried inside the mother may have a better chance of reaching birth before the season ends. The common garter snake, found across much of North America, gives birth to live young. In some northern areas, the active season is short. Spring arrives late. Autumn cools quickly. The young must be born with enough time to feed, grow, and find winter shelter. That timing ties reproduction to the rhythm of the whole landscape. Sunlight, soil temperature, rain, and the length of summer all become part of the beginning. Pythons show a different kind of care. Many female pythons coil around their eggs after laying them. The coil protects the clutch and helps hold warmth and moisture close. Some species can produce small amounts of heat by tightening and trembling their muscles. This is sometimes called shivering thermogenesis. Thermogenesis means making heat. A female python on a clutch may go without food while she guards the eggs, staying wrapped around them until hatching approaches. For a reptile, this is a striking investment. The mother's body becomes a living shelter. Young venomous snakes are born or hatched with working venom systems. A baby rattlesnake has venom glands and small fangs. A young cobra has the basic equipment of its species. Its body is smaller, its venom amount is smaller, and its hunting experience has barely begun. Still, the chemical system is present from the start. This is important because young snakes must feed on their own. There is no nest where meals are delivered. A young venomous snake may need to catch small lizards, frogs, rodents, or fish, depending on the species. A young constrictor may use tiny coils around small prey. A young egg-eating species may begin with food, very different from an adult's larger meal. The first shed often happens early. Many baby snakes shed within days or weeks after hatching or birth. The fresh surface helps them begin life with clear scales and working eye coverings. From there, growth comes in stages. Feed, rest, shed, hide, move again. Each new snake carries a pattern older than any one forest, river, or desert. The body is fresh, yet the design reaches backward through deep reptile history, toward the long road that turned ancient lizard-like animals into snakes. That road did not happen all at once. It was a slow reshaping of bone, skin, muscle, skull, and sense over enormous spans of time. The earliest snake history is still difficult to piece together, because fossils preserve only a tiny fraction of the animals that once lived. Small ribs, thin skull bones, and delicate vertebrae can disappear before they ever become stone. Even so, the fossils we do have show that snakes came from lizard-like reptiles. Their ancestors had 4 limbs, eyelids, more rigid skulls, and bodies that were built for a different way of moving. Over time, the snake line became longer, lower, and more specialized. Some ancient fossils still carry pieces of that transition. Najash rionegrina, found in Patagonia in Argentina, lived around 90 million years ago. It had a snake-like body, yet it still had small hind limbs and a pelvis. A pelvis is the bony structure that supports the back legs in animals with limbs. In Najash, those parts were no longer used for walking in the normal way, but they remained as traces of an older design. Other fossil snakes, such as Pachyrachis and Euphodophis from the late Cretaceous, also show tiny hind limbs. These ancient animals make the history feel visible. A long body in stone, small leg bones near the tail, a creature already snake-like, still carrying reminders of a limbed past. Modern snakes carry faint echoes too. Boas and pythons have small pelvic spurs near the base of the tail. They look like little claws or hooks. These spurs are connected to tiny remnants of the pelvis and hind limb region. They do not lift the body or help the snake walk. In many species, males use them during mating, gently pressing or rubbing them against the female. A small structure left from deep history has found a smaller modern role. The body keeps old pieces when they remain useful enough. Limb loss also involved changes during development. Inside an embryo, genes help decide where body parts grow. Genes are instructions stored in living cells. In snakes, the instructions that once built full limbs changed over time. The signals that would grow arms and legs became reduced or altered. The body lengthened. The ribs extended along much of the trunk. The spine gained many more repeating bones than a typical lizard has. The result was a body where movement no longer centered on 4 limbs. Motion became spread through the entire length. This shift may have been linked to burrowing, swimming, or moving through dense spaces. A burrowing animal benefits from a narrow body that can push through soil and tunnels. A swimming animal can use side-to-side waves to move through water. A snake moving under leaves, through roots, or between rocks can use a long, flexible body to enter spaces that legs might make harder to pass through. Scientists still debate which habitat shaped the earliest snakes most strongly. The evidence points to a long history with more than one pressure at work. As limbs faded, other systems became more important. The skull grew more flexible. The tongue and Jacobson's organ became central for chemical tracking. Some groups developed heat-sensing pits. The ribs, muscles, and belly scales became part of a powerful movement system. Venom evolved in some branches. Constriction evolved strongly in others. Egg-laying, live birth, brumation, tree climbing, swimming, desert sidewinding, and patient ambush all grew from the same basic long-bodied plan. Across more than 100 million years, snakes did not simply become animals without legs. They became animals where nearly every part of the body helps replace what legs once did. The belly can grip, the ribs can brace, the spine can bend, the skull can widen, the tongue can map invisible trails, the skin can renew itself, the body can wait through cold, heat, hunger, and darkness. Seen across deep time, the snake becomes less like a missing form and more like a complete answer to life close to the ground. A quiet answer written in bone, scale, muscle, and motion. The same shape that once seemed strange now carries a long history of change, survival, and careful design. Across that ancient path, the snake becomes easier to understand. The body close to the grass is full of quiet systems working together. A tongue flicks into the air and gathers chemical traces from soil, bark, water, and the faint path of a passing animal. Those traces move to the Jacobson's organ in the roof of the mouth, where the snake can sort direction from scent. A forked tongue gives 2 small samples at once, left and right, helping the head turn toward food, shelter, or another snake nearby. Some snakes add another layer of perception. Pit vipers, some boas, and some pythons can sense infrared warmth. A mouse in darkness gives off heat. A bird resting under leaves carries a small warm outline. A sunlit stone may hold the day's warmth after dusk. For a heat-sensing snake, night is filled with soft temperature shapes that human eyes do not see. The skull carries its own careful design. A snake does not need to chew. Its bones, ligaments, skin, and backward curving teeth help the mouth stretch around prey wider than the head. The 2 halves of the lower jaw can move separately. The glottis, the breathing opening in the mouth, can shift forward during swallowing, letting air still reach the lungs. A meal that seems impossible becomes slow and possible through many small movements. Then the body changes again. Strong stomach acid and enzymes begin to break down bone, muscle, organs, fur, feathers, or eggshell. Pythons can enlarge parts of the intestine after feeding, absorb the meal. Then let those tissues shrink back toward a quieter resting state. This is why stillness matters. A snake can wait because its body spends energy carefully. As an ectotherm, it uses outside warmth from sun, stone, soil, water, and sheltered air to guide body temperature. Basking, hiding, soaking, burrowing, and resting all become ways of managing heat. The landscape becomes part of the animal's rhythm. The skin tells another part of the story. A snake grows under an outer layer made with keratin, the same tough material found in human fingernails. When that surface becomes worn or tight, fluid separates old skin from new skin below. The eyes may turn cloudy for a time because the clear eye covering is also being replaced. Then the old layer loosens and slides away, sometimes in one long pale piece that still shows the scales, belly plates, and eye caps. Venom, where it appears, belongs to the same pattern of special tools. It is a living mixture of proteins, enzymes, and smaller molecules. Some venoms affect nerve signals. Some influence blood and clotting. Some help begin breaking down tissues before digestion. The chemistry can be dangerous, and it has also helped people study blood pressure, pain, nerve activity, and heart function. The same natural molecules that help a snake survive have taught human medicine to look more closely at the body's hidden systems. Movement is the thread running through all of it. Lateral waves carry many snakes through grass and soil. Sidewinding lifts parts of the body over loose desert sand. Concertina motion helps in tunnels and tight spaces. Rectilinear crawling lets heavy-bodied snakes move forward in a slow, straight line, using muscles and belly scales in careful sequence. With no feet touching the ground, the whole body becomes a moving surface. With no hands to hold, the body can coil, brace, grip, and steer. This is the quiet lesson snakes leave behind. Life can solve the same problems in many shapes. A snake is a complete animal shaped by long pressure, patient change, and exact use of the body it has. It can live in deserts, forests, rivers, oceans, branches, burrows, and cold winter dens. It can be small enough to move through termite tunnels, or large enough to rest hidden in brown tropical water. It can vanish under leaves, appear beside a stone, and pass through the world with only a faint movement of grass. The quiet shape from the beginning is no longer just a shape. It is a spine with hundreds of joints, a tongue reading invisible trails, a skull built for slow swallowing, a skin that renews, a body warmed by the world around it. Understanding does not remove all caution. Distance and respect still belong near wild snakes, but knowledge softens the unknown. The curve in the grass becomes less like a mystery to fear and more like a living design to recognize. Ancient, careful, quietly complete. And as the image fades, the snake remains where it has always been, resting low against the earth, carrying its hidden systems in silence while the night settles gently around it.